What is up, everybody? This is the Peaceful Warrior here to give you my review of Naruto chapter 604 entitled Reunion. Boy, was it ever. So, coming into this week's chapter, well, before I get into the summary, let me just say this. The ending of this chapter makes this week's chapter worth reading. It makes it amazing, in my opinion. And it makes the pitiful excuses of the chapters that we've been suffering these last few weeks, if not a couple of months, worth it to get this type of an ending to a chapter. Oh, goodness gracious. Now, getting into the summary. Coming into this week's chapter, Obito learns that Rin and Kakashi are in trouble. He tries to smash his way out to go to them, but the arm that he has from Hashirama's body disintegrates. And Spiral Zetsu offers to let him use his body to go to them. And as he does, we begin to see the mask that Obito uses as Toby form around his face. And leaving just his Sharingan open. Now, Obito is about to smash his way out, and he has a tube attached to him from the Ghetto Mazu, the same Ghetto Mazu that is keeping Madara alive. And apparently Obito is getting some chakra fed into him. And as he's getting this chakra fed into him, he punches through the boulder and he smashes it completely. He then goes over to Madara's armory, and he grabs a cloak. And in this armory, there are all the tools and weapons that Madara has ever used. That's Madara's scythe that we see him have when Obito wakes up in his lair. That's the fan we see him using against Naruto on the battlefield right now. The huge shuriken that Obito uses to slice some of B's octopus legs are over there. So that's where all of Madara's tools and weapons are, and Obito goes over there to grab a cloak. And in my opinion, there's only one reason why he grabs this cloak, and it's to show him developing into Toby. Because I would say that he grabs it because he feels naked, only wearing a Zetsu body, but Zetsu isn't naked. So the only reason why he would need to go and grab a cloak is to show how he's developing. He's taking his final steps to becoming Toby. So that's a good little move right there by Kishimoto, if you will. Depends upon what you can appreciate and what you can't. But Obito says his goodbyes. He tells Madara thank you for saving his life. And Madara's like, hold on to that, because you're definitely going to be coming back here. And when you do, you're really going to thank me. And Madara says it with such conviction that Obito, despite, just saying he's never going to come back, is tempted to believe that he actually will. Because Madara says it with such conviction. And so Obito heads off onto the battlefield. And as he's heading out, Zetsu lets him know you can communicate with me telepathically. And because we also have several other Zetsu out there gathering information, which, is kind of strange, because it goes from there being a white Zetsu to a white and black Zetsu to a white Zetsu and the spiral Zetsu, and we don't yet see the black Zetsu, to all these other Zetsu that are hanging on the Ghetto Mazo. And apparently there are even more there are other Zetsu out there in the battlefield. Who knew? But as Obito's heading out to the battlefield, Zetsu lets him know that Kakashi and Rin are surrounded by several dozen ninja from the Hidden Mist, and they're all Anbu or Jonin level, and they're somehow using artificial bodies. Now, that's going to be key, in my opinion, because Kishimoto wouldn't just throw that out there. I mean, you just don't throw something like that out there. Those artificial bodies that the Hidden Mist are using is going to factor into the following chapters, into Obito's rise to Toby, and to, in my opinion, his actions that we see him take later towards the Hidden Mist village. So these artificial bodies that the Hidden Mists are supposedly using is going to play a huge role, or is going to be a huge focus in Obito's first moves as Toby, especially towards the Hidden Mist village. So keep that in mind. But as they get there, Zetsu says a couple things. Number one, he says, Obito, look, because you're wearing me and I'm protecting you, I can tell that you're still recovering and you're not really ready to take on the ninja that we're going to face. So when we get there, it's best if you let me take over and do the fighting for you. And in that moment, a lot of the people who have been saying that Zetsu was going to take over Obito's body and kill Rin, and Kakashi, despite being entrusted with Rin, was not going to be able to stop Zetsu from killing Rin. Those theories now begin to come into play. And so, yeah, yada, yada, yada. Obito declines Zetsu's offer, and he's like, no, listen. Madara said the full potential of the Sharingan is unlocked if both eyes are together. And so when I team up with Kakashi, we won't need you. We'll be strong enough to take care of business. I just need you to protect me in the meantime. And so we also find out that Minato, the Yellow Flash, is nowhere to be found. And Obito doesn't like that. He's like, why is he not here at a time like this? Now, in my opinion, I believe that these are the seeds of why Obito, as Toby, separates Kushina from Minato so that he won't be able to save her. Because despite being the fastest man alive, Minato wasn't able to save Obito from dying, practically, and he wasn't apparently able to save Rin from dying. So I think that's going to lead to Obito, as Toby, having the desire and the plan to separate Kushina from Minato. But anyway, with that being said, all of a sudden, Obito begins to have a pain in his eye, the same eye that he gave Kakashi. And at first he thinks that perhaps it may be the Zetsu's fault in some way, but it's not. We then begin to get flashes of Rin as if he's looking at Rin through the eye that he gave to Kakashi. And apparently he is, because we see Rin bleeding from the mouth, and then we see, and this is what makes this chapter amazing and worth reading. Kakashi has his arm through Rin's chest with a Chidori strike. And I'm just stunned. I mean, I literally can't tell you how stunned I was. Because this turns this whole series, this whole issue, this whole situation on its head. Because the question is not a matter of Rin's death making Obito turn to the dark side and join up with Madara. The true focus, the true question that we all need to ask ourselves is, why did Kakashi have to kill Rin? Not why did he kill her, why did he have to? Because apparently Kakashi didn't want to, because as he has his hand through her chest, he's crying. He's crying in the same eye that Obito gave him. So apparently Kakashi doesn't want to do this, but he has to. And I think that whatever that reason that he has to kill Rin, that's going to be the reason why Obito decides to leave the village and go back with Madara. I think that's what's going to make Obito decide to accept Madara Uchiha's worldview. And ultimately, I also think that's why he's going to be able to empathize with Kasame when he tells Kasame this world is full of lies. And so the question is, why did Kakashi have to kill Rin? Personally, I have two thoughts. I have two predictions. One, it may be a Kasame type thing, and if it is, I could understand why Obito would turn to the dark side, because if despite going through all that stuff that he did with Obito in order to save Rin, he ends up killing Rin in order to protect the security of the village or to not compromise his mission, like that would be a true betrayal. Like a true betrayal of epic proportions. The second reason why I think that Kakashi killed Rin, and I actually think this one is what it's going to turn out to be. So I really want to get your thoughts about this. I think that Kakashi killed Rin to keep her from being killed by the enemy. In some crazy type of way, I think in his mind, that's him keeping his promise not to let her die at the hands of an enemy. And so, if you've seen the movie The Last Samurai, apparently there's a Japanese tradition that is used by the samurai that it's more honorable to die at the hands of your friends than to die at the hands of your enemies. And I think in some way, the pain of watching Rin die at the hands of his enemies would have been too great for Kakashi, that he considers it better for her to die at his hands. And I think that Kakashi does that because he thinks that there's no way that he can protect her from the enemy. That they are surrounded by hidden Miss Ninja who are Jonin and Anbu level above, and there's just no way, without Minato stepping in once again, that he's going to be able to protect her by himself. And so in his mind, it's better for Rin to die at his hands than to suffer the pain of watching her die at the hands of his enemies. Now, the third crazy little thing is that somehow this may be about those artificial bodies. Those artificial bodies that the hidden Miss Ninja may be using may be somehow involved in this. I don't know how, because we've never heard of the hidden Miss Ninja using artificial bodies, but I think that they may play a factor. Perhaps they're what made the situation so dire that Kakashi felt the only way to not suffer the pain of letting Rin die at the hands of an enemy is to kill her himself. Who knows? In some crazy kind of way. But either way, what you need to take away from this week's chapter is this. The reason why Kakashi had to kill Rin, even though he didn't want to, is the reason why Obito becomes Toby. So, thanks a lot for listening, and I really look forward to your opinions in the comment section. Make sure you rate and subscribe as well. Peace.